Let's continue here on BOXTOROW. We're joined by a gentleman, as a matter of fact. He is the head men's basketball coach at Morehead State. And Morehead State, back-to-back OVC regular season champs and winning the OVC tournament championship against Little Rock. And, of course, Morehead State now going to wait to find out who they play in the tournament. We are joined right now by Preston Spradlin, the head men's basketball coach at Morehead State. Coach P, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me on. Excited to be here.
No, I'm excited to do this because you've been building a program, and eventually during this conversation, I'm gonna take you back to your days as a GA at Kentucky, because we have a great radio station, as a matter of fact, in Lexington that carries the program. Just came on maybe about a month ago, but 26-8 on the season. You win a very, very tough OVC. Your thoughts on the way your team is playing to this point?
Well, I think we're playing our best basketball, and that's what you want to be doing. You know, we talk about accomplishing goals with this team. We never talk about a number of wins or anything like that. It's always about getting better. And we've been very fortunate to come in and learn after each and every game. And as you mentioned, 26 times this year, we've had a chance to come in and learn after a win. And so that's where we're at right now, of accomplishing that goal and proving that to be correct, that, we're just focused on getting better and thankfully playing our best basketball right now. But really proud of this team and excited, because I think we really do have a team that's built for March, just with our depth, our experience, our shooting, the way we can defend. I think it gives us an opportunity once we get into March Madness to make some noise.
A coach that we know here on the program that played ball at Little Rock guy, head coach, Darryl Walker, I believe was the OVC coach of the year. But now you all lost to Little Rock earlier in the season. You avenged the loss in the most important game, in the championship game. Talk about that win and what it meant.
Well, it meant a lot, and congratulations, to Darryl. He did an unbelievable job, completely turned over his roster in a year's time, and he won a share of the regular season title, got the number one seed as well. And man, it was a battle at their place. We got down 14, came back, took the lead, and then they stole the lead back within the last, I think, 10 seconds of the game, in an unbelievable atmosphere at Little Rock. And so that was the only chance we got to play each other. And he told me on the court after the game, he said, "Coach, it's going to be your team versus mine at the end of this, because we've got the two best teams." And I believed that as well. And that proved to be true. And it was a great game. We jumped out big on them this time in the championship game, and they fought back. And then they took a second half 1-point lead, and then we were able to kind of catch our stride with some adjustments later on in that game, and guys hitting big shots and getting some stops. But it was everything that you would want a conference championship game to be, and very much worthy of kicking off March Madness like our league does each and every year. But hats off to those guys. But it was a terrific game and a great tournament.
No doubt about that. The precursor to that game was the night before, in essence, the rubber match against UT Martin. You guys split, and you got that victory. Speak to that. Could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way. We got them really good at our place earlier in the year. We would go down after we actually lost 2 nights later at Little Rock. We lost at Tennessee Martin. And very similar game. Came down to one possession. And, came down to a rebound, and I think they made a free throw or two to kind of extend it there at the end. But, high-powered offensive team, got two guys that could go for 30. And this was a very offensive game, and we found ourselves down, I think, 4 at halftime. And our guys, the message was, hey, we're playing well. We're not playing bad at all. We're playing well. Martin's playing about as good as they can play. And so here's the things we got to clean up. We got to adjust. We got to do better, and let's go out there and do it in the second half. And man, our guys went out there and just had a lot of fun. Made shots and got stops and shared the basketball, and just looked like a team that was really, fighting to extend their season for all the right reasons.
Preston Spradlin, or Coach P, is the head men's basketball coach at Morehead State of the Eagle program. He joins us here on BOXTOROW. Coach P, can you speak to? Boy, the OVC is tough. And you look at some of the mid-major conferences, and it's hard. It's almost impossible to get 2 teams in. The OVC has been like this for many. Going back, Murray State, a dominant program, going back some years ago. and now you're on, that in terms of being dominant. Again, 2 straight OVC regular season championships. Your thought on how tough the OVC is?
Well, it's a great league. It's a basketball league, and you look back in years ago, I think 5 years ago, we did have 2 teams in the tournament. We got Murray State won the tournament championship, and then Belmont got an at-large. Both teams won a game that year in the tournament. Same thing a couple years ago. Murray beat us in the championship game 2 years ago, and they won a game in the NCAA tournament as well. And so there's a great history within our league here. It's seen a little bit of a change, right? Because there's been a lot of conference realignment that's across the nation, and we've been affected by that. But I think we've adjusted really well by adding some quality teams. You mentioned Little Rock in there. Western Illinois was a great addition this year. And then 2 programs that are transitioning in USI and Lindenwood that are going to be really good, especially once they get through the transition period. And so it's a great basketball league, I think we have had, I don't know the exact number, but I know that we talk about it in our league meetings a lot. For mid-major conferences, I think we have more NBA players coming out of the OVC in the last 15 years than any other mid-major conference. And we're really proud of that. You look at the guys who are coming from our conference that are now the transfer portal and all that has become a thing, that are playing at the Power 5 level and having tremendous success. And so it's a tough league. It's a great league. Lots of really good players and good coaches, and thankful to be a part of it, and, fortunate to be at the top of it as we sit here right now.
No doubt about it. One of those players we know very, very well, still playing in the NBA, Robert Covington out of Tennessee State. Speaking of good players, Riley Minix. I mean, you've got some really good players, but like Riley Minix, one of the top scorers in the country at almost 21 points per game. Speak to what he means to this team.
Well, he means a ton. He's just unbelievably talented. He's top 10 in the nation in double doubles this year. Led our league in scoring. He was 2nd or 3rd in rebounding. I think he's top 5 in the nation in field goal percentage. And he's just an all-American type of guy. He's as good of a player as you get to see on TV. He's an even better person and a better locker room guy and teammate. And so we're very thankful to have him. God certainly blessed us when he gave us the opportunity to coach Riley for his final year. And he's had a wonderful season, and I'm just glad that it's been a great match and been able to live up to all the expectations that we had for each other.
Preston Spradlin, or Coach P, the head men's basketball coach at Morehead State, joining us here on the program for a couple of more minutes. You took over the interim role going back some 8 years ago, went 12-9. Then you had to start to build this program, right? You go 8-21, 13-20, 13-19. Then 2021 season, you're 23-9. You've won 20+ games ever since that. Speak to, starting out good as an interim and then having to kind of build this program up to where you are right now.
Yeah, I can tell you, when you first become a head coach, it's difficult. I can always relate to, guys that are in that first year and people who have more success in that first year than what we did. I'm just unbelievably impressed with, because it's extremely hard. When I took over on the interim basis, we had an older group, and we had a culture of playing really hard because of our former head coach, Sean Woods. We were tough and we played hard. And so those parts were already in place. And so I had to, just tinker some things, maneuver and figure out how we were going to particularly play with that group. But the effort and the intensity was already there. And then when I got the job, we had 3 returning players and a brand new staff. I was young and trying to figure out exactly who I was from day one. And that's a difficult task. And I'm just very thankful that I was able to make a lot of mistakes and grow through those as a young coach here at Morehead State, because, a lot of places don't let you do that, especially in today's day and age in college basketball. Everybody wants to win immediately. And so it took a little time for us to figure that out, what our identity was going to be and who we were going to recruit, what kind of players we were going to have, and exactly how we were going to play. But it feels good now that we've been able to figure that out. We've been able to sustain it here, even with a lot of roster turnover with the portal and things like that.
And then last year, not only winning the OVC regular season, but to go into the NIT, get a victory over a Power 5 in Clemson, who's having a pretty good season in the ACC this year.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for us. We won. That was the first regular season championship at Morehead State in 39 years, so that was a big deal. And then we go down to the tournament, and we just had too serious of an approach, and that started with me. And we played tight and ended up falling short in Evansville, so that gave us obviously a really bad taste and incomplete feeling. But we were fortunate to still be in the NIT, and so we spent that time, getting our guys loose, getting them confident, and getting them prepared to go knock somebody off. And that's certainly what we were able to do. And so coming into this season, it was a great combination. We had a lot of hunger from losing in the conference tournament, but we had confidence from winning at Clemson. So that gave this group a great combination to work hard, but and avenge last year, but at the same time, the confidence that once we get an opportunity in March against, maybe a Power Five opponent, that we're going to be prepared and we know we can win those games.
I know you all are doing a watch party on Sunday to find out exactly where you're going to play. What do you anticipate in terms of a seeding for the Eagles?
We're trying to keep track of it a little bit. I think every time that there's, maybe a lower seed in a conference tournament that wins and punches their ticket, it obviously helps us. Our net, I haven't checked it today, but I think we're at 106. So that, it's pretty good. And so, it depends on all the things they're factoring in. I think we were top 20 in the nation in our non-conference strength of schedule. That should be a factor, winning 6 games in a row, as you mentioned. And you look at our KenPom and our defensive efficiencies, we're top 10 in the country. So all of those things should factor into helping us get a little bit higher seed than maybe some other mid-major programs are going to get. But we're looking at maybe a 14. I think is the latest that we had heard, and so whatever that is, we're going to be excited and we're going to be prepared, and we don't have any control over it. We did our job, and as we like to say, the hay is in the barn. So we'll kind of wait and see what happens now.
And then lastly, Coach P, and we appreciate the time. You were a graduate assistant under John Calipari, the head coach, still at Kentucky, even at that time, going back to the between 2009 and 2011, those 3 seasons. What do you remember, sort of most, and what are some of the lessons that you learned from Coach Cal?
My favorite things about Cal, number one, it's not a slogan. He's very much players first. He loves his players and their families, and so that makes that's the root of every decision that he makes, and that's very real. And he lives that out, and so I'm very proud of that, and we do the same here, and that's what I learned from him of how to do it, and it makes difficult decisions easy when you know where your heart is and your motivation. But I think he's extremely innovative. He's great at saying, okay, we need to figure out how to do this in a short amount of time, and build a particular set of habits to get ready to win this game. And I think he's an unbelievable teacher. Obviously, he's a marketer. He's unbelievable in the media, and the people see that. But the care that he has for his players and how meticulous he is with his teaching does not get near enough credit for what makes him a Hall of Fame coach.
Morehead State again, 26-8 winners of the OVC Tournament Championship, waiting to hear where, in fact, the Eagles will play in his 8th season as the head men's basketball coach of the Eagles. Is Preston Spradlin as he joins us here on Box to Row. Coach Pete, we appreciate the time. Continued success to you and the Eagles.
My man, I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can gain a few Morehead State Eagle fans throughout March Madness, because our guys are certainly going to be ready to go.